Harry Dry is probably the most maverick human I know. Over a very, very short amount of time with his website marketing examples, he went from 0 to 150,000 email subscribers in like 3 years. Truly phenomenal. And he did it largely by himself. I've seen people describe Harry as the best copywriter in the entire world. And today, he is with us. So with all that being said, please give Harry Dry a huge round of applause.
Home pages, storytelling, positioning, offers, ads, hooks, social media, sales. Wait! It's all copywriting! Always has been. I did not think I'd start as a spaceman. Neither did I think I would start with a book I read when I was 6, Frog and Toad Are Friends by Arnold Lobel. Then Toad began to bang his head against the wall. Why are you banging your head against the wall? Asked Frog. I hope that if I bang my head against the wall hard enough, it will help me to think of a story, said Toad. Now, I've never had a conversation with Toad, but if I did, I'd say, Toad, keep banging your head. If you think writing's hard, it's because you're trying to do it well. I recently moved house in London. I've been trying to find a place to rent, which means traversing lots and lots of tube lines. And in preparation for this talk, I thought, on the side of the tube, I would take some pictures to show you the problem, I think, with advertising or copywriting or marketing. So it's 8 a.m. A few weeks ago, I got off the tube at Barbican, and I was greeted by a jointist telling me to live life to the max. I got off at Farringdon, and I saw Destination Nuclear, be a force for good. Sainsbury's think that the best way of demonstrating the relationship they have with farmers is flat, imaginary cardboard carrots. At this point, I was in West Kensington, I believe, or maybe it was South Hampstead, and I saw Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Where Your Money Works. For those of you who don't know Zlatan Ibrahimovic, an XTB, that's like Wayne Rooney giving you stock tips. I got off onto the Elizabeth line now. I think maybe Liverpool Street is the place for me to start my new life. And I see Freedom Pay, World Pay, unleash the power of pay. I didn't know we had a problem paying for stuff. At this point, I visited a couple of places. They weren't for me, and I was very, very hungry. So I found myself a chocolate bar, dairy milk, and more. Because nothing screams conviction quite like and more. Selling so well it's reduced to clear. Liverpool Street was not the place for me. There's too much hustle and there's too much bustle. So I took the Weaver line to Stoke Newington. Now, anybody who has the Weaver line would know that you have Wi-Fi on that line. I did not know this. So I get out my phone and I open up Twitter, and Durham University is promising programs which will equip you with the essential skills to excel. And I'd like to ask Durham, what do you mean by essential skills? Genuinely, not sarcastically, and what do you mean by excel? Datadoo promised me a 360 view of my business. You get the picture, okay? This is the problem. So I arrive in Stoke Newington, where I'm going to stay for the night and see if I like the neighborhood. And it turns out I do. I now live in Stoke Newington. And I upload these pictures of the day to convert them to JPEGs from my phone, and I see SEMrush promising to beat your competitors in less time. Okay. There's one ad I liked that day. I saw 57, and I quite like this one from The Ordinary, designed to clarify that not tested on animals is already industry standard, not a product benefit. What's the problem? Like, I feel like it's very easy to stand up on a stage and like pontificate and criticize. It's much harder to do. But I still think we should try and understand like what's going wrong. And George Orwell, writing in 1946, summarizes the problem much better than I can. As I have tried to show, modern writing, at its worst, does not consist in picking out words for the sake of their meaning and inventing images in order to make the meaning clearer. It consists in gumming together long strips of words which have already been set in order by somebody else. The attraction of writing this way is that it's easy. So what's going wrong? Okay, what's going wrong? That's what I think is going wrong. Now I'm going to give you 3 little ideas so you can spot it in your own work, because I do this, and I'm sure a few of you do. The first one is how do you stop gumming together words set in order by somebody else? Well, it's a very obvious answer. You can search them on Google with curly quotes. Now, if you put something in curly quotes in Google, it's a direct match. So you can see how many people have wrote the same thing before. So if we remember Freedom Pay, Unleash the Power of Pay, I click their website, I see take your payments to the next level. There's genuinely hundreds of companies who are describing their payment provider as take your payments to the next level. The words have been killed. They've lost all their meaning. I'll give you one more. Read it aloud, what you write, in a phony American accent. That's not original. Unfortunately, it's in the copybook, and I forgot who first said it. Let's see how this goes. So, SEMrush. Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You might remember me from such adverts as beat your competitors in less time. If we try that with The Ordinary, it doesn't quite work as well. Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You might remember me from such adverts as designed to clarify that not tested on animals is already industry standard, not a product benefit. It doesn't work because this ad is quite sincere. It's a fact. It's honest. You can't parody. You can't cliche honesty. Finally, could a competitor sign this advert off? Jim Durfee once wrote, never write an ad a competitor can sign. So, Durham University, essential skills to excel. Plymouth University could write exactly the same ad. Our marketing program will equip you with the essential skills to excel, University of Plymouth. Keele University, nobody's perfect. #1 in England for overall student satisfaction. 2014, Keele. 2015, Keele. 2016, Keele. 2017, Loughborough. 2018, Keele. Plymouth can't do that ad. Neither can Durham. I think, in one word, the problem I'm getting at here is abstraction. Thinking is hard. Before there were computers, there were ideas. So we hide away, we pull back away from concrete reality, and we use words, which you have on your little pads here, which I gave you a little abstract word, bingo. You talk about cutting edge, you talk about take, you talk about whatever. It looks like this. This is what most websites look like. It's prefabricated, words tacked together like sections of a prefabricated hen house. Now, I don't think AI is particularly good at solving this problem, but it's not bad at spotting it. So a little prompt I found useful is copy and paste your homepage, your advert, your company statement, whatever, into ChatGPT and ask, read the following copy. Can you highlight every word or sentence which contains abstract verbs, abstract nouns, abstract adjectives, abstract adverbs, and cliches? And if you're not at the top of your game, you will get back a long list of things to change. On the way home tonight, have a go with abstract word bingo with your own homepages. You spot one word, that's a shot of pickle juice. You get 5 in a row, that's the whole bottle. I think there's 2 problems here. Why do we abstract? Why do we hide? Why do we carry away? I think, firstly, most companies have little to say, and secondly, they're not too good at saying it. So what do? They imitate. It's easy to imitate. We feel very safe when we imitate. So in the last 10 minutes of this talk, I'm going to give you a little solution. Not a big solution, a little solution. I'm going to try and help you work out how do you have something to say, and secondly, we're going to try and work out how to say it well. All right, part 2, having something to say. Robly. Switch to Robly, email marketing for everybody. Now, would anyone in the audience, it's a very difficult question, would anybody in the audience have an idea of how to improve Robly's homepage? Who's it for? Louis says, who's it for? And he's right. The problem with Robly is you could give that to the best writer in the world, copywriter in the world, whatever, and they couldn't do anything with it because they have nothing to say. They had nothing to say in the first place. So email marketing for everybody. There's 365 email marketing companies. MailChimp is the biggest. They're also email marketing for everybody. So why would anybody ever choose Robly? This is when we think about copywriting, it's a mistake, a big mistake, to think it's just writing words or write words which sell. I was once in a meeting and they said, Harry, come up with a line. You need to have something to say in the first place. Below the iceberg, we have what are you competing against? Why you? Who's it for? When's it for? What is it? What are you not? Why did you start the product in the first place? What's your point of view? Why do you exist? When you have these elements in place, summarized by perhaps story and positioning, it's really easy to write words which sell, okay? That was an awful lot to cover, so we're going to talk about two of them. What are you up against and why you? I like to lay this out very simply with left and right. What am I up against? What am I competing against on the left side, and why you on the right-hand side? You get this right, it's pretty easy to write words which sell. So here's a baking company, Baker's Delight. We're for real. What is the baking company competing against? Factory-made bread. Why you? Well, it's baked in bakeries. Bread in bakeries tastes better, so you have real bread isn't made in factories, it's baked in bakeries. Now, I have an example for you to work out yourself. I was born near Southampton, in Portsmouth, and in, you're bottom of the league. In Southampton, there is 8 swimming schools for children, all very closely proximitated in there. That's not a word, but within a 5-kilometer radius, 500-meter radius, I should say. Now, they always say the same thing. Swimming lessons, Southampton. Welcome to Southampton-based quality lessons, affordable prices. Learn to swim at Wessex Swim School. They all say we do swim lessons. So I want you to think you're now in charge of setting up a swim school in Southampton for children. How would you position it? How would you think about it? I'm going to give you 1 minute with the person next to you, but I will give you one little clue of how I might approach this. I would start with the left-hand side, most swim schools. There's busy classes. They don't really teach much. There's supervised play, which happens. There's just people splash around. And there's no clear goal. It's just like have a swim for an hour and enjoy. So how might you think about positioning a swim school? 1 minute now with your partner. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, okay. Would anyone like to volunteer a swim school? One more suggestion from this side of the room. Pardon? I like it. These are positions, okay? How I would approach this is we have busy classes. So what about if our swim school is just 3 kids to 1 class? Supervised play. What's the opposite of supervised play? Well, we actually teach your kids to swim. We don't just splash around. There's no clear goal, okay? What about if the swim school is positioned as ditching armbands within 6 weeks, okay? You end up with Nitro Swim School. Others do lessons. We teach swimming. It's the same idea. When you have something to say, you can get out of the way. You don't have to be clever. You don't have to be technical. You should all be a little bit less technical. We're going to skip through this one. Part 3, saying it well. Okay, this is the conclusion of the talk. I was thinking, there's so much to talk about here, and I was going to give you 3 things which have helped me most in my career, and none of them are from me. We're going to start off with a book by Claude Hopkins in 1926, page 22, actually. The chapter is called Just Salesmanship, and he writes, "There is one simple and right way to answer many advertising questions. Ask yourself, would this help a salesman sell the goods? Would it help me sell if I met the buyer in person?" Whenever I write something, I think about these words. Let me give you an example. You are a salesperson. Whenever you're writing something, you want to imagine yourself with the product in your hand, walk into a front door. You're about to knock on the door. What are you going to say to the person when they open the door? Okay? So we're selling Wi-Fi. We're selling Starlink. You knock on the door. You're not going to say, "Hey, I got this new Wi-Fi. It's effortless setup, and it's got instant connectivity for your household." You're a salesperson. What would a salesperson do? They'd get out the Starlink in their hands, and they would stick it on the ground, and they'd say, "Point to the sky, plug it in. Directions work in either order. That's how simple it is. That's your Wi-Fi, okay? You might get a sale. MacBook Air. You're trying to sell the MacBook Air. If you're not a salesperson, you might say, oh, it's 40 millimeters thin. What would a salesperson do? What would they write? And you have Steve Jobs, who puts the MacBook Air into a yellow manila envelope to show how thin it is. That's the act of a salesperson. I have one, or two more, actually. This one is found in the copybook by Richard Forster. And he says, yeah, you want to turn a matter of opinion into a matter of fact, okay? So here we have 7 lines. Built for the love of the drive, style. It's hard to define, but easy to recognize. There are 3,389 men at our Wolfsburg factory who have one job. Make your entrance in the all-new M2 Coupe. There's more legroom up front than you'd get in a limousine. Uncompromising power and dynamics are in your hands. A symphony of high performance, aesthetics, and attitude. 2 of them are matter of fact. 5 are matter of opinion. Wolfsburg factory, and there's more legroom up front than in a limousine. When England got knocked out of the Euros, newspapers wrote their headlines. This was actually not when they got knocked out. This is when they were vying for Southgate's head when we drew 0-0 to Slovenia. And the Sun, sack Southgate. The team aren't clicking. This is all matter of opinion. You want to write matter of fact. So the Times, I got the newspaper at the time, and I thought it was brilliant. When will the stars align? 682 passes against Slovenia. 1 pass between Kane and Bellingham. That's how you turn matter of opinion. The team aren't clicking into a matter of fact, and that's what you want to do in your writing. Here's Yum Woof. Tasty ingredients. Leading chef. Packed with chicken. This is all matter of opinion. We want to turn this into a matter of fact. Instead of a leading chef, it could be a New York City chef. Instead of packed with chicken, you could say the number 1 ingredient is fresh chicken. Matter of fact. Tasty ingredients. How could you turn that from a matter of opinion into a matter of fact? Any guesses? Pardon? Fresh. Yeah. Or you could remember that you're a salesperson, and you'd pick up the dog food and you'd eat it. All ingredients you would eat. That's fact. I will eat the chicken. I will eat the dog food. Lastly, I have 2 minutes, and I'm going to tell you that this is from Eugene Schwartz, Breakthrough Advertising. All writing is just a search for juxtaposition. Now, this sounds weird and technical, but honestly, I've made a career from this line. You can juxtapose words, big, small, 22,000 and 2,000. That's how I wrote this advert. Marketers, you will spend 22,000 hours of your career writing. Spend 2 learning how to do it well. 22 and the 2. Okay, but you can also juxtapose ideas. These are words, everything, nothing, okay, simple. Ideas is a little bit more technical. I wrote an ad for Ramp, the finance company in America, last year, and I was given this idea that 99% of companies were satisfied with Ramp in 2024. There's no juxtaposition here. Why do I care about juxtaposition? It's because we only know the hot water because of the cold water. We only know it's sunny today because it's been freezing for 2 weeks. So I think, how can I create a little story from this? How can I pull out juxtaposition? And the answer isn't too complicated. Here we go. Till death do us part. This is the idea, but the first line is what I want you to look at. 8. That is how many businesses tried Ramp's corporate card in 2024 and decided it was not for them. That's the cold tap right there. Now, 8 looks like an awfully small number when you compare it to 12,059. That's how many businesses tried our beloved corporate card in 2024 and decided it was the perfect fit. So that's how you take a number like 99.9, and you I don't know what you do, but you make it a bit more interesting. I'm writing an essay tomorrow, which I've finished. I'm going to publish it tomorrow. And my idea was that big ideas come from conviction. Big ideas come from conviction. There's no hot tap, there's no cold tap. So I wrote, big ideas have much less to do with creativity than you think and much more to do with conviction. You have the 2, you have point A, point B, the cold and the hot. There's no big ending. I just say thank you very much for so many people here. It's really a privilege to talk. And Rand's on next, and he's great. Over and out.